started laying on our backs, soles of the feet onto the earth, hands behind the thighs, and gently guide yourself down. Where you take your time getting there, and just begin to breathe. Close down the eyes. Do that physical scan of the body from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. And see where you're holding on today. Allowing yourself to send those spaces some love by sending your breath to them. And then bringing the soles of the feet as close as you can towards the glutes. Let the fingertips just graze those heels. And to relieve pressure on the low back, we're going to take the feet and move them about half a foot in front of that, just so you can release that pressure. Allow the shoulder blades to kiss, draw the shoulders onto the mat. So you're going to have this arch in the low back right now. So right, like you can slide a book or a piece of paper underneath it. We're going to inhale, press that low back down to the mat and tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, lift that low back off the mat, tailbone tilts down towards the mat. Inhale, flatten that lumbar spine. Exhale to tilt it up. Inhale, release it down. Exhale it up. 2 more times just like that. Go at your own pace. Really feel connected with the feet and the hands here. And then 1 more time, if you're not there already. Once that low back lifts up, stay here for a moment. Beautiful. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide into a recline bound angle. You can always use blocks here. Allow that low back to lift up slightly. Allow the knees to drop down towards the earth. Really press the feet together to keep neutralized and stable here. And then bring 1 hand to your heart and 1 hand to your belly. And just begin to breathe. Inhaling completely. Exhaling fully. And allow yourself to just melt away here. Allow yourself to feel connected. If you are feeling any pressure in that low back, just slide the feet a little closer to the front of your mat. Bring the hands behind the thighs and gently guide them in towards one another. The feet are going to come max distance apart and the knees are going to come in towards one another. Press that low back down. Just a counter pose for a recline bound angle. And then bring those feet again about inner hips distance apart. And we're going to hug the knees in towards the chest. Give them a nice squeeze. Rock from side to side. Beautiful. Keeping those knees hugged in, keeping that low back pressed to the earth. We're going to inhale the knees over towards the armpits and just hold here. Draw those knees back in towards center, touching one another. Slowly extend the legs up, but don't extend them fully. Keep those knees bent. And then cross the right leg over the left. And slowly extend them towards the left side of your mat, arms open out into a T. Coming into a twist. And just go to where you feel comfortable. Allow both shoulders to ground down. If that right shoulder is popping up, you're not doing any good for yourself. So come out of it slightly. Right? The knees can be all the way up towards the ceiling if that's the way you're feeling comfortable today. They can be all the way to the earth. Again, there is going to be some discomfort, right? Just not pain. And then come back to center, unravel the legs, and just switch directions. So the left thigh is going to cross over to right, and you're going to slowly extend them towards the right side of your mat. And this side might be different. Allow that left shoulder to stay grounded. Allow the feet to touch first, right? And then you can slowly start to extend those knees down, right to your comfortable edge. Rising back up, unravel those legs, hug them in, and just roll to one side to come up to an easy seated position. Take your time here. If you're having any pain, don't go quick. Make slow movements. We all meet in the same place. Allow yourself to sit on a blanket or a block, or just right on the earth if you don't have anything. Hands are going to come towards the knees. We're going to inhale, roll forward, and exhale, draw towards the right side and all the way back. Navel goes up and in. Inhale, allow that belly to come out like a hot air balloon as you roll forward. Exhale, navel up and in as you roll back. Come into big circles like you're stirring a pot of sauce. Allow the shoulders to get involved, allow the sitting bones to stay grounded. And then go in the opposite direction once you come up top. Take an inhale, heart draws forward. And then as you exhale over towards the left, round the back, coming towards the right, and over towards the left. And keep going. Beautiful. Find some stillness, come up top. We're going to inhale, reach those arms up towards the sky, gaze up, relax the shoulders. Exhale that left hand down, right arm over ear line. And you're slowly going to walk those left fingertips out until you find that comfortable edge and bow over, gaze up at that right hand. That right sitting bone is staying grounded to the earth. You can come light onto the fingertips, the palm can flatten, you can bend that elbow if you need to. Our lateral stretches are so good for our breath, our spine, mind, body, and soul. Slowly come back up and go to the opposite side. That right hand releases. Left arm over ear line and slowly start to walk those right fingertips out. If that left butt cheek lifts, draw back down, spin that heart open. Again, you can come onto the fingertips, the palm can come down, you can come all the way to the earth. Feel this nice stretch along the left side body. And then inhale, rise back up. This time we're going to twist towards the left. So exhale that right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you. You want to get it as close as you can towards your spine. I like to come light on my fingertips when I do so. Inhale, crown reaches. Exhale, twist it from the navel point. So how you know you're twisting from your navel point, if you lift both hands up and you bounce back slightly, that's exactly where you're meant to be. Gazing over that left shoulder. Maybe you stretch those eyes, trying to gaze as far back as you can. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale to the opposite side. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, twisting from that navel point. Lift both hands up and release them down. Maybe stretch those eyeballs back as far as you can. And then come back to center, lift up. Hands the heart space. Coming into your tabletop position. So it's nice to have a blanket underneath your knees if you need a little more cushion, but it's not necessary. So checking in with tabletop. Right, this is really important for that low back, that we're not drawing the shoulder blades to kiss, but they're drawn away from each other, and that there is a slight tuck of that tailbone. So come onto all fours, shoulders over the wrist crease, hips over the knees. Sit back on those heels and just bring 2 fists in between the knees, and that's about inner hips distance apart, maybe a little bit wider if that's comfortable for you. And then come back to all fours. Fingers are spread nice and wide, and you're trying to press down through the mounds of the index finger and the thumb to get the pressure out of the wrist crease. So what's wrong here is if you're lifting that tailbone up in your neutral tabletop position and that belly is dropping and the shoulders are drawn towards one another like you're trying to hold a pencil between them, that's wrong. So inhale those shoulders away from each other, slightly tuck that tailbone, and it makes this like flat back for you. And your gaze is forward and down, trying to still keep length in the neck. And just breathe for a moment into these spaces. Feel that connection. And we're gonna continue to warm up the spine with our cats and cows. So the tops of our feet are really pressing into the earth, the hands are pressing into the earth. Now we wanna lift the tailbone, drop that belly slightly, draw the shoulders back and gaze to where the ceiling meets the wall for our cow pose. Say moo. And then exhale, push the earth away, round the spine, tailbone tucks in, and your gaze slowly goes back to that navel point. Again, you're pushing that earth away, the shoulders are drawn away from each other. Inhale into a cow pose, belly lowers, tailbone lifts, heart lifts, shoulders draw back. Exhale to that cat pose. One more time, just like that. Inhale for your cow. And exhale for your cat. Come back to that neutral tabletop position. Remember, the shoulders are drawn away from each other. Tailbone is slightly tucked. Navel starts to activate going up and in. We're going to extend that right leg back, toes onto the earth, and just rock forward and back. My toes might crack, mine always do. And then come back to center, shoulders over the wrist crease. We're going to lift those toes off the earth slightly and just step that foot in between the hands. Help it up if you need to. And then slide that left knee back. Hands onto the earth, just lift that heart space. You're trying to lower those hips down and draw the shoulders down the back body. Gaze is forward. We're not going any further than this. Just a nice stretch on this lower half of the body. It helps get into that left hip flexor to relieve that pressure. And breathe. You can always grab blocks or books, whatever you have, to make the floor, the earth come to you. And then release those hands down. Slide that left knee in. Extend that right leg back behind you. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, round the spine, draw the knee in towards the nose. Push the mat away. Extend it back. And release the knee down. Opposite side. So that left leg is going to extend back, toes onto the earth, and rock forward and back. Forward and back. Just a few times. Waking up that calf muscle, the entire leg. And then be mindful what those shoulders are doing. Are they collapsing in? As you do so, draw them away from each other. And then find some stillness. Shoulders over the wrist crease. Lift those left toes off the earth slightly and step that foot in between the hands. Take your time. Slide that right knee back. Come light onto the fingertips. You can always grab blocks. And lift that heart space and gaze forward. Try to lower the hips down slightly. Keep those hips in line with one another so one's not drawn further back than the other. And breathe. Relax the shoulders. This time it's getting into the right hip flexor. Releasing any props that you have. Slowly draw that right knee in slightly and extend that left leg behind you. Inhale. As you exhale, round that spine, knee in towards the nose. Extend it back and release it down. Curling those toes under. Bringing the hands about one hand length out in front of us. We're going to lift up to our downward facing dog, but I don't want you to go into completely straight legs and locking out those knees. When there's a slight bend or a deep bend in those knees, it helps with that low back. So inhale here. Exhale, lift those hips up and back. Bend those knees as much as you need. Draw that heart space back. Maybe pedal out the feet, bend in one knee and then the other. Beautiful. Really feel connected through both hands, both feet. Find some stillness with those bent knees. Lift that tailbone up and lift that heart space back. Shoulders are drawn down. Not going to be here long. So as we inhale, we're going to gaze in between our hands and exhale, tippy toe to the top of the mat, forward fold. And you don't want to just hang in space. That's going to put pressure on that back. So feet come a little bit wider apart and press the palms into the earth. If you have to bend your knees to do so, do that. You can always grab blocks here as well. And then your gaze goes back between the knees. Just shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Let it all go. Slide the hands to the shins. Lift that heart space, gaze forward. Inhale. Now here you want a flat back. Right? So again, you're not drawing the shoulders down towards the mat. That tailbone is reaching back. The crown of the head's reaching forward. And your navel is up and in, right? That's really important here because if you don't activate the core, that's going to put pressure on the rest of your body. So inhale. Exhale and fold. Bend those knees. Plant the palms. Now bring the fingertips behind you like you're going to ski down a mountain. And then inhale, rise up all the way to the sky. Lift those arms, stretch through the rib cage. And exhale, hands to heart space. We're going to inhale, lift it up. As you exhale, tilt towards the left. Keep grounded through both feet. Inhale, center. Exhale towards the right. Come back through center. Swan dive down. Flat back, bend those knees. Forward fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift, flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold into yourself, Uttanasana. We're gonna step that right foot all the way back. Bring the foot parallel to the back of your mat. Walk the hands to the inside of the foot and over towards the right side of your mat, right? So rather than cartwheeling our hands up, we're gonna come from here. So bring the hands to the hips and rise up. It's a little less pressure here. Draw the heels towards one another. Deep bend in that front knee. Again, it's not super wide, but it's not super close either. Gaze down, make sure you see your big toe. If you don't see your big toe, make sure you draw that knee back. Gaze down at that right foot. Make sure you ground down through the outer edge of that back foot by lifting that inner arch. And then arms are gonna come shoulder height. So that back arm might wanna drip down. You wanna draw it up and gaze off that front hand. Relax the shoulders. Navel's up and in. Then slowly start to straighten that front leg. We're gonna inhale, reach it forward, and exhale for a triangle pose. Hand meets where it meets. Right arm reaches towards the sky. Press up against that imaginary wall behind you. Right? So you don't have to meet the earth. Feel length here, feel expansion. Hold for a breath. And then slowly rise up, warrior two. Inhale here. Exhale, plant the hands to frame that foot, spin that back heel up. Right hand is gonna plant. We're gonna keep the hips in line with one another and the left arm's gonna come to the sky. So you're gonna see that right hip wants to dip down, draw it up so you square those hips. And then release that left hand down. We're gonna step it forward for a forward fold. Uttanasana, bend those knees, plant those hands. We're just switching sides, so take an inhale, halfway lift. And then as you exhale, plant the hands. The left foot's gonna step all the way back. We're gonna bring the hands to the inside of the right foot and walk it over towards the left side of your mat as you ground down that left heel. Energetically hug those heels towards one another and rise up for your warrior two. Same cue, so there's a deep bend in that front knee, the knees drawn towards the pinky side of the foot, see that big toe. Look at that left foot, ground down through the outer edge, the pinky side of the foot, and then arms are shoulder height. Live in this space for a moment, and then straighten that front leg. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale for a triangle pose. Gaze up at that left thumb. If that's too much on your neck, you gaze down at that right toe. Okay, press behind you. Navel's up and in. And then rise up. Warrior two. Gaze down, frame out that front foot. This time we're just gonna step it back into a plank, but as soon as you step back, lower those knees. Then we're gonna lower our chest by bending the elbows towards the rib cage and lowering our chest and our chin. Booty stays high. And slide forward like a snake in the grass. Inhale for a cobra, but first bring your feet mat distance apart and rise up slightly halfway. And lower back down. Hands are planted underneath those shoulders. Inhale about halfway, draw the shoulders back. And lower back down. You're pressing through the pelvis and you're pressing through the feet. Get that pressure out of the low back. One more time, inhale. And exhale. This time we're gonna curl those toes under and just sit back onto those heels and reach the arms out in front of you. Like a modified child's pose. And then we're coming back to all fours. So our tabletop position. We're gonna keep those hips directly over the knees and walk the hands out in front of us for our puppy dog pose. Maybe your chest bone meets the earth, maybe the forehead, maybe the chin. Just lower that heart space down as you keep that tailbone lifting. Relax the shoulders the best you can. Navel is up and in. Just breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly walk those hands back. Take your time. And we're just going to sit onto those heels again and swing the legs out in front of us. So coming into our staff pose. So remove the blessings, find the sit bones, toes are pointing towards the face, hands are down at the sides, press the hands into the earth, lift that heart space. You're gonna flex those toes so much that the heels lift slightly, and then release them down. We're gonna inhale, lift the arms up. We're gonna bend those knees slightly, and exhale, forward fold. I want your chest to connect to the thighs. So as far as you need to bend those knees to do so, go ahead. And then interlace the hands behind the feet. Close down the eyes for a forward fold. Maybe keep that connectivity and walk the feet a little bit further to the front of your mat. And then slowly rise up. Bring that right knee in. Cross it over the left leg. Keep that left foot flexed. And then just hug that right knee with the left arm and bring the right hand behind you for a twist. Sit up nice and tall. And you're not helping yourself if you're like crunching in. Nice and tall. Gaze over that right shoulder. Keep that left foot flexed. Protect our joints. And then twist to the opposite direction over towards the left right hand or right elbow on the outside or the inside of that right knee. And then come back to center. Release that leg. Left knee's coming in, left foot's crossing over the right thigh. Flex those right toes, hug it in with the right arm. The left hand behind you like a second spine. Sit up nice and tall. I like to come on my fingertips here. Just feel this nice twist. And then go into the opposite direction over towards the right. And then come back to center, planting the soles of the feet onto the mat. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together like we did on the ground and knees out wide. Sit up nice and tall, grabbing onto the ankles, the feet, whatever you got. Inhale, exhale, bow forward. Bring the elbows into the thighs, press them away from you. And you're going to go as far as you can without rounding the spine, just as natural curvage. Reaching the crown towards the toes, towards the front of your mat. Live in this space for a moment. And then slowly rise back up. Bring the knees back in towards one another. Hands down at the sides and lower all the way back to your back. Take your time. When you get there, the feet come inner hips width apart. Let those fingertips graze those heels again for a moment. And then bring those feet about 1 foot in front of it, each other. Press that low back into the mat. Lift the tailbone up. Draw the shoulder blades to kiss. Relax the shoulders down to the mat. We're going to inhale, lift the hips off the earth for a bridge pose. So go as high as you can, bringing that chest towards the chin, not the chin towards the chest. Pressing the feet, pressing the hands into the earth. And as you exhale next, lower it all the way back down. We're going to do 2 more just like that. We gotta keep that low back pressed into the earth when we meet the mat, so we neutralize the spine. Inhale, lift it up. Again, go nice and slow at your own pace. Exhale it down. And objectively hug those thighs towards one another like you're holding a block in between them. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, lower it down. Now staying here, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Flex that right foot and draw the knee towards the front of the room. Press that low back down. Just hold here. Sleeping pigeon. And switch in sides. The right foot releases. The left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Toes flex towards the face. Draw the knee towards the front of your mat. Press that low back down. And release that left foot. Keep that left foot on the mat and then just hug the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to grab behind the right thigh and extend that right leg up. Keep a bend in the knee as much as you need. And then just draw the toes towards the back of the room and breathe. And release. Opposite side. So grab behind that left thigh, draw the knee in towards the chest. And then extend it up towards the sky. Keep a bend in the knee. Point your toes towards the back of your mat. And try to draw that leg in. And release. Hug both knees back in towards the chest. Press that lumbar spine down. Then draw the knees over towards the armpits. You can stay right here if this is feeling good. Maybe grab onto the soles of the feet, open up for full expression of happy baby. Allow that tailbone to reach down towards the mat. Allow the entire spine to relax. Allow the shoulders, the head, and the neck to relax. And then draw the knees back in towards the chest. Sit onto the tops of your hands. Okay, right underneath the tailbone, the sacrum, and then extend the legs up towards the sky. You can have a bend in the knees if you need to. Just allow that blood to flow in the opposite direction. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees back in. Grab opposite elbows. And then extend the legs nice and long on the mat. Find an Arshavasana. Right foot towards the right corner of the mat. Left foot towards the left corner of the mat. Hands down at the sides. Palms face up. Just settle for a moment. Allow the entire body to be heavy. Come back to your natural breath pattern. So our Shavasana is so important. This allows your body to recognize what you just did, to build memory, to let go, to let be. Bring the thumb to the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky finger. Release in. Bring the thumb towards the pinky finger, the ring finger, middle, and index. And release. Wiggle all 10 toes. Bring the feet together, point the toes towards the front of your mat, reach your arms overhead for a full body stretch. And then hug those knees in and roll over onto your right side. Just stay connected for a moment. And then when you're ready, plant those hands down and sit up into an easy seated position. Hands at heart space, close the eyes and bow your head down. Loka Samasta Sukhina Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute to the happiness and freedom for all. Namaste.